The Retirement Cafe Podcast, episode 102, Getting Financially Fit with Shannon McLay of the Financial Gym.
Retired or thinking about retirement? You've come to the right place. Welcome to the Retirement Cafe Podcast. In each episode, we bring you an important conversation with insight, tips and knowledge, all designed to help you live a fulfilling and successful life in retirement. Here's your host, Chartered Financial Planner and accredited later life advisor, Justin King.
Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Retirement Cafe Podcast, which is sponsored by my financial planner. Not knowing when you can afford to retire or what your pensions and investments will provide can be worrying. My financial planner provides independent, fixed-fee retirement planning advice, bringing clarity to your financial future. At My Financial Planner, we build a financial plan for your retirement and equip you with the knowledge to implement the plan and choose any products that you might need to enhance your retirement yourself. Find out more about getting a plan to fund the retirement that you really want and deserve at myfinancialplanner.co.uk. 7 years ago, Shannon McLay was working as a financial advisor with a big corporate bank, feeling disheartened about the work that she was doing. The pro bono work she was doing on the side was helping people out who couldn't really afford her advice, proved to be much more fulfilling for her. So Shannon founded the Financial Gym in her hometown of New York City. The Financial Gym is a financial planning business based upon a fitness-inspired approach to planning and managing your money, and has gone from strength to strength and grabbed the attention of the national media. Thanks to Shannon's use of fitness-inspired analogies and lots of wine. In our conversation, Shannon shares her story and how the Financial Gym is helping thousands of people towards better financial health, regardless of their bank balances. So without further delay, let's get into my conversation with Shannon. So welcome to the podcast, Shannon McLay.
Hi, Justin. Glad to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking the time out. And so it's 10 o'clock in the morning for you. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon for us. So where are you?
I'm in New York. I live in a suburb outside of the city and have been in New York. I was raised in New York and then lived in the Southeast for a while and came back to New York right after I had my son. And people ask me about starting a business in New York and could I have gone anywhere else? And I feel like the only place to start a financial services company is in New York, in the capital of financial services. So here we are.
Absolutely. So Shannon, tell me a little bit about your backstory. Obviously, we know each other a little bit, but you've got quite an exciting story. So for the listeners who don't know you, tell me a little bit about how you got where you've got to and your quite exciting company.
Yeah. So I always tell people I'm the accidental entrepreneur because I never intended to start a business. And here I am 7 years later in the business I started. But I graduated college 20 years ago. I feel very old right now in the year of 2020, but I think most of us do. But 20 years ago, I graduated and I had a career in financial services. I worked on a trading floor. I told people I'm not changing the world. I'm just making money. And that was my life's mission. And then I did that. I did that for about 8 years, hit 30 and had this kind of turning point in my life about wanting to do a little bit more than just make money, kind of finding purpose. And I went on this different trajectory. At the time I was working for a hedge fund, then ended up going back to work for Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. And this is post the last recession of 2009. And I was working with Merrill Lynch financial advisors. And I remember thinking when I was working with them, I felt like I needed an advisor because we were about to buy a house. We had the child. I was like, all the things you feel like you need a financial planner for. And in the process of looking for myself, I tell people I became woke to the advisory space. And I always say, there's nothing wrong with this, but 85% are men. And, I would say I married a man, I birthed a man. I love men. There's nothing wrong with that. But it felt really unfair because if somebody was looking for something different, it was really hard to find. And money's really personal. And I thought, there's just not enough diversity here. So I'll become a financial advisor and I'll help people, especially women, become advisors or whatever. And so I became a Merrill Lynch financial advisor. And to work with me, you had to have 250,000 in assets. And you didn't even count as a client unless you had 250,000 in assets. So, and I didn't think anything of that at this point in my career. It had been around money. I thought, I had more than that in my 401k. I was like, sure, I can find people with money. And I was finding people with money. But then I was finding this other group of people, which is the majority of the population, people who didn't have 250,000 in assets. And I tell people all the time that I laugh that the gym would never exist if I took the advice of my Merrill Lynch mentor. I would say mentor in air quotes because he really kind of gave me the advice of what not to do. So he said to me, pre-screen all your calls, Shannon, make sure they have money before you even meet with them because they don't even count if they don't have the 250,000. And I was like, I couldn't even imagine asking somebody how much they had in their bank account before we had coffee. Like that just wasn't something I was going to do. So I took every meeting from people. So if they said, oh, I need a financial planner, I'm like, sure, let's meet, let's have some coffee. And the first meeting with what I would eventually call my pro bono clients was this woman. And she's telling me her story. And she's like, I have 250,000 of student loan debt and I make $50,000 a year. And, it went on. And I was like, in my head, like, there's no way I can help this woman, but I wanted to help her. And the thing that really got me was she said, I just feel unlovable. Like, who would want to marry me with all this debt? And there was so many emotions. And I was like, in my mind, I really did think, I don't know who wants to marry you. I wouldn't want to marry you with that much debt either. But I didn't say that to her. But I remember thinking I want to help her. So I couldn't do anything for it, Meryl, but I started doing these plans on the side. And, it's this dirty little secret for me. I was helping all these people with no money and becoming the worst financial advisor ever because I love my clients with no money than my clients, like my high net worth clients. It was just much more fulfilling work. And I did that for a while until I had like the aha week of my life of the gym. And it was literally in a few days time frame. And I did a quarterly review for a couple in the beginning of the week. And one of my Merrill Lynch couples, and they had over $1 million invested with me. They were making six figures. They were doing really well, but their portfolio was down 3% because the markets were off. And they were just like complaining about where their money was. And it was like, how are the kids going to go to college? And how are we going to survive this? It was so much drama. And I spent an hour of my life making them feel better about being a little less rich. And it was just really soul sucking. And I thought, I guess this is my job, to help people, talk people off a ledge that's not that high. And then 2 days later, I did a plan for a pro bono client. And I, just like we do at the gym now, which is telling her how much she needed to save, how she should pay off credit cards or student loan debt and manage her life. And at the end of the meeting, she said, you're saving my life, right? And I was like, oh, this feels so much better than that. And it literally all came to me like a lightning bolt. I was like, I have to create a business for people like this. That these people I kept meeting, which is the majority of people, where they could get financial help, but like it didn't matter what their bank account looked like. And at the time I was on a weight loss journey. And I remember thinking around the same time when I wanted to get physically healthy, there's so many places we could go to get physically healthy. But if people want to get financially healthy, where would they go? Like where would I send these pro bono clients to and know that they're going to be treated with care and compassion, and it doesn't matter what's in their bank account. And I thought, if you want to get financially healthy, you go to a financial gym. And it literally was all at once. I was like, it's like H&R Block, but fun and cool. Advisors or trainers, they wear jeans and t-shirts. Clients pay monthly membership fee like a regular gym. It was like all there. And this was 7 years ago. But I knew nothing about starting a business. I had no idea. And, I laugh. If I knew all the things that I know now, I don't know if I would have gone on this journey, but like, here I am. So 7 years later, now we have 4 financial gym locations in the US, 2 in New York, 1 in DC, 1 in LA. We've worked to close to 10,000 clients at this point, and we work with clients across the country, and they're literally all financial shapes and sizes. We've had clients start with us with our most recent, tough starting point was a client who had negative $2,000 in her bank account.
Wow.
because of bank overdraft fees, and she just couldn't get out of this cycle. And her trainer was like, I don't even want to charge her because like I think I know she'd get out of it. She just needs some a way out of it. We just got an update on this client. She's now in 6 months, she saved over $7,000 in her savings account. She's paid off $3,000 of debt, and she's paid off another $2,000 of IRS debt. And she just got a job making $35,000 a year more. So anyway, we have that client, and then we have clients started with us millions of dollars. So like they don't want to use a Merrill Lynch financial advisor. They want to manage it themselves. And our youngest client, 17, our oldest is 74, and everywhere in between.
Amazing story. Amazing story. So who were the first kind of top 5 clients, who you managed to persuade to join the gym?
Yeah. It's so funny you asked that, Justin. I literally just met with clients 1, 2, and 3 last week. They're on 7 years now with me. So I know them very well, and they're still clients. And client number 1, 7 years ago, is in a book club with my sister. And my sister said, my sister's starting this thing. And she reached out to me, and she didn't want to pay the monthly fee, or I was at the time 7 years ago, I was trying to figure out the pricing, and I thought it was like a 1-year program, and it's going to be like $500 for the year. And she thought that was too much. And I remember being like, well, that's the program. So, have a nice life. And then I wasn't really getting any other clients. And I thought I could create like, why am I saying this is it? Like I can create something. So I created what we still have now. We call it the Kickstarter program, which is, you just get a financial plan, and it's $250, and I meet with you in a year, and we check in. And she said that sounds like, something I want to do. So we did her plan, and then she ended up needing more ongoing work. And 7 years later, she's still my client. And every time I meet with her, we talk about how she's client number 1. And she's still referring people to the gym, which is funny, like 7 years later, but, and she's gone through a lot. But then client number 2 is in the book club as well. At some point we had every member in the book club, which is funny. But like client number 2 is in the book club, and client number 2 wanted to do the Kickstarter. So we did that. And then client 2 introduced me to client 3, who was her boyfriend at the time. And he wanted to do the full year program because he was like, I need more accountability. So he did that. And then clients 2 and 3 got engaged. They got married.
Wow.
They are now pregnant with their second child. They actually live in London now, outside of London. No, I think they're in London, in the city vicinity. They bought a flat, I think. Yeah, they have a very long-term mortgage, all the things. And we just had all their reviews around the same time. And we always talk about how it's been a long journey for all of us, but they're still on the journey together.
Great. So, tell me how it works. I mean, if someone approaches you, or they look at your website, what do they see? What's the offer?
Yeah. So right now we have it's one-on-one financial training. So we encourage people to sign up for a warm-up call and to get to know us better. We encourage people to get to know us, period. We know money's really personal. We know it's an investment in yourself, and we don't want you to go into it. We're not going to pressure you into doing it. We really want people to get comfortable with us. So the warm-up call is free, and really they're not. There's actually current clients are the ones who volunteer to do it for us. Actually, we pay them, but they do the calls for us, and we just want you to get to know. We want to get to know more about you. You get to know more about us. What are the financial challenges you have that you'd like to work on? Maybe it's making more money. Maybe it's saving more. Maybe it's a debt repayment journey, whatever it is. And then if you want to move forward, then the caller pairs you with one of our trainers that's best suited for, what your stage, journey that you want to go on. Cause we have different trainers with different, expertise areas. And then you get paired with a trainer. And then the first session we call your financially naked session. Because we know money is very taboo. And so that first session, it's tongue in cheek, but we know that people are more comfortable getting physically naked with somebody than financially naked. So, we want them to feel comfortable and they're going to share a lot of information with us. A lot of times it's the first time they're ever saying it out loud to somebody. Even married couples, we've had married couples married, 5 and 10 years who are sharing their financial information for the first time in these meetings. So, we prepare people for that. You're going to share a lot of info with us. Then we're going to ask you about your goals. Where do you want to go? What's important to you? And then a week later, you got your financial plan from us, which is literally laying out the roadmap for everything. And our plans are truly unique. I've been in financial planning, advising for over a decade now, and the type of plan we give is like, it's unique to us. And we're going to tell you how much you need to save. We're going to tell you how to handle your credit cards, think about your, life insurance. We're going to tell you how to think about a lot of things. We're also going to tell you how much you need to make. So if you have these big life goals, 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And I always say it doesn't matter the paycheck size, because we got clients making $400,000 a year living paycheck to paycheck, and clients making $40,000 a year. It's because they're not aligned that people don't really think about. They just start adding on these expenses or costs and don't really think about how it impacts the whole picture. So we're going to tell you how much you need to make for the life goals you want to have, and what that looks like. And so, yeah, you get the plan, and then it's the ongoing accountability. You'll get check-ins and formal reviews, tracking your progress and seeing, where you're going. Our average client in the first 3 months is going to increase their net worth $2,500. They're going to increase their credit score by 60 points, over 60 points, and they're going to increase their income by an average of $5,000 a year. So people ask me a lot, like, why should I pay money to save money? And I always say, first of all, if you're hitting all your goals and you feel highly confident about that, like, don't pay for it, don't. But if you're not, maybe you need somebody to kind of help you tweak things or level it up to the next level. And I just had a review, I'm in my cycles of reviews with clients, because I still have clients. And I had a couple, they've been with me over 5 years now, and their net worth is up over something like $300,000 at this point. And they don't make, they make like $60,000, $70,000 a year. And we were talking about how much progress they've made in 5 years. And they're like, yeah, we get asked all the time, why do we have an advisor? And it's like, we never would have done this without you. Like, this is why you get help. If you can't do it yourself, you invest in it.
You're obviously delivering significant value. What does it actually cost?
Our average clients are paying $85 a month. Couples pay more. I think it's $145. And then we've got clients who have maybe more complicated finances. It goes up to like $250 a month. And we want it to be affordable. This is our current model now. We're about in early 2021. We're going to release an even more affordable option where we're calling it the DIY gym, where you can do your own plan and do your own tracking and have less accountability. And we'll have a free version and then like a $35 a month version. So our mission is to provide financial health to the masses. And my personal goal right now is to get us to 1 million members. So that's what we're actively working on.
Amazing. And if I'm rightly saying, you don't actually sell any products.
No,
you're not looking after money. You're providing protection policies. This is pure, unadulterated coaching with no sales.
Yes. It's funny is I left Merrill Lynch, where we were encouraged to sell Merrill Lynch products. Actually, we were incented to sell Merrill Lynch products and put people in Merrill Lynch products. And I left, and I really wanted to be platform agnostic of, after that experience, I really just want it to be like, we don't care where you go, what you do. The funny thing is our clients are like, just tell us what to do. We've never been more like, we have clients who are almost more upset that we're not telling them. Like, we do give advice. We're like, if we tell you to open a high yield savings account, we're going to tell you which high yield savings accounts are good, have the best rates, or we're going to tell you which credit card options are good. Like, we're going to narrow it down for you. But at this point, we're not telling you exactly what to do. Most of the time, a trainer will say, well, I have an account here. or I have this card, and literally the clients are like, yeah, that's what I'm going to get. But we don't at this point. It's not product.
No. And how do you address the bit in the UK, which is hugely regulated and crazily so. I mean, I don't know whether you suffer from this regulation in the US, but there's even more. There feels to me anyway, more regulation on someone who wants to save a small amount of money in a tax-free savings product, which has even an investment in a stock market ISA. There's more regulation in someone who wants to invest some money than there is in someone who wants to borrow some money, which kind of seems like crackers. It's like, hold on, the one when you're borrowing is charging you 25-30% interest rate, and the investment one over the long term is only going to grow.
Can make you money, right?
The regulation's all kind of wrong. The regulation should be massive on people taking on debt and probably less for the people who are saving hard, or trying to start a savings account. But I can imagine that you might sometimes steer people to starting to taking out a savings contract, like an investment linked contract, and they're going, which one do we do? What do you do with that?
Yeah. So first of all, I totally agree with you on the regulations. It's wonky, and there's a lot of reform that needs to happen in financial services, and not too much reform needed, and not enough people focused on the right kind of reform. But I think it's unconscionable that people can get a credit card at 29% and or student loans that you can borrow up to $400,000 of student loan debt with a career trajectory where you're never going to be able to repay that. I just think it's unconscionable. But yes, on the investment side, though, we don't give specific investment advice, but we give the guidance to clients. And I was a Merrill advisor. I thought investing was really complicated till I became a Merrill advisor, and I thought, this is not this. And I saw it firsthand. It's not that complicated. It's just asset allocation, understanding goals at the end of the day, and that's what we're helping our clients understand. It's understanding what are the goals. Because we give a lot of analogies, different analogies to help our clients understand their financial choices. And I always say it's like your adult life is like a road trip, and the goals you have are the destinations. And the problem we have financially is that we are driving around without the destinations, because we're not really sure what we're capable of achieving, or maybe we have debt, or we're not just really sure of the goals to set. And the biggest thing that we do and help our clients do is understanding what are the destinations, because then we can get there more efficiently. If buying a home is a goal, okay, well, how do we get there without making too many detours along the way? Having children is a goal. I say all the time, my dad used to always say, children are the death of net worth. And it's true. They're very expensive, but that's great if it's a goal of yours, but we're going to have to prepare for that, because that's going to, adjust to some other goals. But having those destinations is more important than the type of investment you have, because the destination is going to determine how you invest or where should it be. And this 2020 has been a year of a lot of craziness, but in the middle of the market craziness in March and April, our clients who have different investments, because they have different life goals, were in the right places of where they should be. So, it's giving the guidance of, if a goal is buying a house, well, you shouldn't be invested with, or you could be, but it's not going to be as aggressive as your retirement investing, because a house goal is like 2 years away, or we're not investing your rent money, or, you have to make the right choices and in the right buckets. And that's the hardest part. The secret sauce of what you put in there at the end of the day, it's very simple. It could be very simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. So that's the biggest thing we're steering our client, making them understand what goals look like, and then how we plan for them, and then how you invest the right types of investments for those goals.
Yeah. Now, Shannon, I've been on your website, and I've investigated all what you're doing, and I love. There's a whole thing around wine.
Yeah. Money's stressful. Yeah, we joke that our workout equipment's wine and Kleenex, because we our clients drink a lot of it when they think about their finances. But yeah, most people don't love talking about money. It's
No.
actually, I've talked to financial therapists who say, there's probably 100% of people experience financial anxiety at some point. And then there's differing degrees. So we know that the best way to empower people about their money and finances is to talk about it and to get engaged in it and get excited about it. And so, if it takes drinking some wine with us or, having these kind of the more cutesy kind of approach, sneaky way to get you interested in your finances, we're going to take that because
I love it.
The end goal is where we're going for.
Absolutely. Now I can imagine your kind of workshops and evening parties, etc., gathering everyone to do that. It's been fantastic. But obviously, we're chatting in October 2020, and I'm sure in New York you've been curtailed a little bit about putting on kind of gatherings and things.
We haven't gathered.
Have you been coping with business?
Yeah, we haven't gathered physically together since March 13th, but we've been gathering virtually. And interestingly, we used to do we call them Wine and Learn Wednesdays. We used to do them in our gyms, and then we'd have them on Facebook Live as well. So for members who couldn't make it. And we would get whatever 50 to 70 people in a gym. And then we'd maybe get 20 or so people online. We've been averaging 300 people a night in the on the virtual side of it. So we actually have more engagement now. And I think, I know we're more comfortable with the virtual environment in 2020 for better or worse, because we've had to be. And so we are getting actually more engagement in a virtual way. We're doing now virtual open houses so people can get to know our trainers. We have weekly Instagram lives. We have weekly connection points for people, and they've had very high engagement actually in the pandemic. So
brilliant.
It's worked for us. We can work virtually as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see.
Although we all miss, getting together and drinking and hugging each other and all that kind of stuff. The funny thing is most of my trainers are very compassionate, empathetic people. And we joke that at the gym we're huggy people. So it's hard in this new world to just stand 6 feet away and be behind a screen with masks on, but we're adjusting.
Yeah. It is tough. And I'm missing those face-to-face meetings myself. Mm-hmm. Tell me about your Martinis and Money podcast.
Yeah. So
again, there's an alcohol theme coming through again.
I know. It's probably because I'm Irish, and other reasons. But I started the podcast. I started the podcast as a dare. I was a personal finance blogger when I was building the business, and I was at a blogger conference, and they did a video. I think it's 6 years ago, and I lose track. 6 years ago, and they did this video about podcasts, and it was mostly men in the video again, which is fine. I didn't even listen to podcasts, and so I was with a group of women, and they were like, "Look at this is ridiculous. There should be more women personal finance podcasters." And they're like, "Shannon, you should do a podcast." And I was like, first of all, I don't even listen to podcasts. I don't even know what I would talk about. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, I do like to drink and I do like to talk about money. So maybe I would do a podcast about that. So it was Martinis and Your Money, Living a Better Life, one cocktail at a time. And so I launched it 6 years ago. And, and I've been, we have a weekly podcast has been going for 6 years. And the funny thing is, like, I keep trying to get out of it because it's a lot of work. A podcast is a lot of work. I've got a lot of things on my plate. Like the gym's grown over the 6 years, and the podcast is still there. And, but it's like the mob, they keep pulling me back in. Like I've had listeners now for 6 years, and they're like, well, you're not going to stop. Right. Or we get new listeners all the time who, hear me somewhere else or are just now getting introduced to the podcast. And they're like, oh, I'm so glad I found it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll still keep doing this. So I have help now. Before it was really just me. A year ago, I pulled somebody from my team on to kind of help me produce it. And now it's it's a lot more organized than when it was just me, but it's still a lot of work. And I still say, what am I going to talk? What other show am I going to do? Like we keep talking about and brainstorming new episodes. I'm like, I feel like I've talked about everything at this point on my show, because we talk about a lot of different money topics, but we still keep talking about things. So here we go.
Yeah. And what is we specialize in talking to retirees and helping people plan their retirement. What's kind of the world according to Shannon around retirement in the US? What are the challenges that people face? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I never really talked about retirement, because I was like, oh, it's 1,000 years away and I'm never going to retire, because I can't see myself doing that. And because I thought about retirement in kind of I'd say the quote old school way of looking at retirement. And then actually when I was at Merrill Lynch, we had this person come speak and they talked about financial independence. And that was like something that sounded much better to me than the word retirement. And there's, whole movement up, financial independence, retire early, or, there's different concepts. And so for me and for the gym, we're really big fans of financial independence and calling retirement financial independence, which is the ability to work because you want to work and not because you have to work. And I think what we like about changing that kind of verbiage or thought process or mindset shift is that it makes retirement a sooner event than when you think about retirement as being a 60 plus event that's so far away for people. Every month feels like 1,000, right? In 2020, right? So, retirement's really a long time away, but we want it to feel closer and sooner to people so that they make the right choices that will add up to a healthier retirement at the end of the day. And so, for me, when I was at Merrill Lynch, I remember, I met with a number of people who had over 250,000, and it was their nest egg, their life savings. They felt, like they'd worked so hard, they were in their 60s, and and then I would do this plan for them, and they still had to keep working. I remember a few times having to deliver those plans saying, you're not ready for retirement yet because this, and this. And it was like telling somebody who just ran a marathon that they have 5 more miles to run. It was I hated delivering that message. And so a lot of our mission at the gym is that we don't have to do that. I'd rather tell you when you're halfway through your marathon, like, hey, you can take your foot off the gas, like you're good to go. Like, I'd rather have that conversation. And I've had that conversation with multiple clients, sooner than that. So it's a number of steps to take to get to that healthy level of retirement, financial independence. And the biggest part of biggest equation of the fact of retirement is how much is it going to cost you to live in retirement? Like, what does retirement look like for you? And it's helping clients understand what that looks like, because the lower that number is, then the less you have to have saved up, and the more options and flexibility you have to when you can get there. And that's most of the work we're doing with our clients, is just helping them understand, like, what does the expense side of the equation look like, and are these expenses necessary, to sustain in retirement or not? Because if not, sooner than later, then you can make, I have 3 clients right now who are in their 50s, and I've told them, I'm like, you don't have to really work. You can, to make some extra income here and there, but, we've been working together the last 3 years, and because we've made different choices, I'm like, you're in really good shape. And they almost don't believe me. I was like, no, it's my job to be highly conservative. The only thing I'm concerned about with clients long-term in the retirement planning process in general is healthcare costs and potentially having issues with long-term care challenges. Those are the 2 big things. In the US, inflation is 1% to 2%, but in healthcare, it's 7 to 10. And it's been consistently like that. So those factors are like the ones that I have a tough time, or I just want my clients to be extra conservative in those areas.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I love the term financial independence. I think it does bring it, the retirement of the classic couple walking down the beach and the yacht and the golf club, etc. doesn't actually excite most people I talk to. I mean, it might do in elements of their lives, but it's not going to be the be all and end all of something. They still want purpose, and they still want community, and they want family, and they want they still want to contribute. So the financial independence, I think, is a much freeing term, and it's one that we use as well.
Yeah, it just changes the mindset, and again, for us with clients, it helps promote healthier financial decisions sooner than later, because we have a goal that doesn't have to happen after 59 and a half, when you can start taking from your pre-tax income without penalties. It doesn't have to happen then, and because of that, it becomes a sooner trajectory. I think what's really difficult, especially for younger generations, is having your eye on the prize when the prize is so far away and there's so many things that are near term that it's difficult to manage it to. So if we can bring the retirement concept into, sooner than later, then that helps change the patterns too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Shannon, one further question I've got is, how, you're obviously having a massive impact on the people who engage with you. I presume there are a certain amount of the potential market who aren't engaging, who just think that it's too hard, it's just too difficult. I'm so in debt, or I don't earn enough, or I'm living paycheck to paycheck, as you mentioned. How do you encourage those people that there is opportunity for them to have a better financial life?
Yeah. What I say all the time is everything you do financially is fixable. Everything. It's just how much fixing do we have to do? But we've seen it all. We've literally seen it all at this point, and it's been fixed. Whether you've had to file for bankruptcy, your credit score is ruined, your credit score will bounce back after 7 years. So I had a client who had a mark on her credit report, and her credit score could never get out of this range, and it went away, because literally it will drop off your report after 7 years. So it'll just take some time. Or we've had clients get homes after bankruptcy. It requires more work, and you have to show more paperwork, but it's totally doable. So yeah, everything is fixable, and it's just a matter of believing it and having this mindset shift. The majority of the work we're doing with our clients is so much behavioral finance. It's helping them understand the choices they're making, and help them have healthier choices, and understand that there's going to be setbacks and things are going to happen. We have clients save for emergency funds and then need them. And we're like, well, that's why you have an emergency fund. They're like, oh, I didn't want to have to use this. I need 4 new tires. We're like, but this is why you have this fund. So, thankfully you have the fund. And then we'll just build it back up again. And, it's interesting for us. The other thing I tell people too, if they're feeling like that, or like not sure about they could afford joining or whatever. And I always say, if you don't know if you could afford $85 a month, that's going to really put a strain on your family's finances, then you need to join our gym, because no one should live a life. I don't care how much you're making. No one should live a life where $85 is going to make or break your life, because then that means the other things aren't happening. The bigger goals aren't happening, and you really are stuck. And I've said that for a while on my podcast, I've said other places. And I love when I see clients who've joined, who maybe heard me say that, and then you see them post things on social media and they're like, Shannon said this and she was right. I believed it when I joined, and now I've got this money saved up. And I'm like, because it's true. I'm not selling a load of garbage. I've been doing this now for 7 years. I've seen it enough. My team's seen it enough to know, that we can fix this. It's just more work, and we use a lot of analogies to help people understand that, but we use a lot of fitness analogies to help our clients understand our money, obviously with the gym concept and finances. But, the way the people who are feeling like that, feeling stuck, it's like, it is going to be like running a marathon, the journey. And no one says, I'm going to run a marathon and then runs a marathon the next day. It takes training. You're going to, run a little bit here. You're going to take breathing times. You're going to take setbacks. You actually rarely run the full marathon before you run a marathon. But it will happen over time. You'll eventually build up to that point where it gets easier, where the mileage gets easier. And what's funny is I use the marathon analogy all the time. I have never run a marathon and I don't want to run a marathon. I could barely run a 5K, but I have seen people do it. And I know it's possible. So
there's a cocktail at the end for you, Shannon.
Yeah, I know. Meanwhile, my employee number one, Bridget, she's run 4. So I'm like, you could just keep running them for us. But that's why I really understand the process so well. But it's a journey, and you have to acknowledge that it's not an overnight journey with finances. Nothing's going to change overnight. It's going to be a process. And that's what we help our clients understand is like, this is not going to happen overnight, but it is going to happen. We have three clients this summer who bought homes, single women in their 30s who started with us. They all are on 3-year journeys with us and didn't really have the goal of buying a house on their own. Just, they didn't know if they get married. They didn't know what was going to happen in their life, but because of the twists and turns, they all bought homes this summer. And I was like, well, that's incredible. But it took 3 years to get to the point to build up, to save up and buy the home. But here they are, all homeowners.
Brilliant.
They all have the same trainer too. So we joke that she has like the hat trick of, the 3 clients with the homes. We about profiled them all on Instagram.
Fantastic. Shannon, it's been fascinating chatting to you. I really, really enjoyed it. Where can people find out more about what you do and all the great work that you do?
Yeah, they can go to financialgym.com. That has all the information, has access to all of our social accounts too. We have so much free content and information for people who want to get to know us better. So financialgym.com is a great starting point.
Marvelous. Well, I really appreciate your time out today, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you once again to Shannon for taking the time to share her story. If you'd like to find out more about the Financial Gym and the great work that they're doing, check out the show notes on our website at theretirementcafe.co.uk, where you'll also find some useful links. If you've enjoyed this episode, then please don't keep it a secret. Share it with your friends. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts so that more people like you will discover us. It really does help. If you'd like to get in touch, please email me at hello@theretirementcafe.co.uk, or you can connect with me on Twitter at JustinKingCFP. I'm always really keen to hear your feedback. Thank you, as always, to my financial planner, the Fixed Fee Retirement Planning Specialist, for sponsoring the podcast. You can find out more about how they can help bring clarity to your retirement at myfinancialplanner.co.uk. So until next time, this is Justin King, helping you feel more informed in your retirement.
Thank you for listening to the Retirement Cafe podcast with Justin King. To find out more, you can find us online at theretirementcafe.co.uk.